let's get started. People are joining. First of all, a very big welcome to our very special webinar that's on the private security industry and COVID-19, the experiences in India. We've been doing a range of these webinars over the last few weeks, attracting attention from around the world. And the idea of them is to engage with debate, to think through the sorts of issues that are important, and start then to think about the type of solutions that are going to involve. What we do know is the quality of security we get in the future will in part depend on the quality of debate now. I'm delighted to welcome an expert panel. Joining me, Martin Gill. I'm based here in the United Kingdom. And our panel is mostly Indian based. Just to ask a favour from the audience, a lot depends on audience participation, and at the bottom of your screen you will see a question and answer button. And so if you do have a question for our audience, I would ask you to put the question on that, not the chat button, but the question and answer button, and that way we will be able to get to you. One final point, just to tell you quickly about the Outstanding Security Performance Awards. These are open in India. These are worldwide in 13 countries. These are the categories. We'll remind you of them at the end, but what we're talking about today is outstanding security performance. Thinking about what's going to make security great. And these are the categories. Okay, we'll come back to that at the end then. So let's get started. And I'm going to ask my panel just to introduce themselves first. And let me go to start off with Captain Tyagi.
Yeah, good afternoon. I represent International Council of Industrial Security and Safety Management, which has got a global membership of over 7,000 working security and safety professionals. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Can I ask Kunwar Vikram Singh, please, to introduce himself?
My name is Kunwar Vikram Singh. I'm chairman of CAPSI, that is Central Association of Private Security Industry, which is the apex body of the private security industry. There are 9 million security guards and 23,000 security agency operations in India. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can I ask Vishwanath Katti to introduce himself, please?
Hi, my name is Vishwanath Katti. I'm the chairman and managing director of Garble Prime Services Private Limited. Been in the industry for 40 years. I'm also the national president of CAPSI, Central Association for Private Security Industry.
Thank you very much indeed. Vikram Mahakukar. So I didn't say that very well, I don't expect, but I tried.
Yeah. So I'm Vikram Mahurkar, and I'm the founder of Checkmate Services Private Limited, which has a workforce of around 45,000 security guards. We are into cash management services, facility management, and live firefighting services. I've been in this from 1989.
Perfect. So an expert panel, and we've also been joined by Simon Pears. Now, when we were putting this together, Rajiv Martha is the brains behind this. He said to me, can you get a global thought leader who can think strategically about security around the world? Simon, that's your intro.
Thank you very much, and what a good intro. So Simon Pears, Chartered Security Professional and Global Security Director at Sodexo, where we provide security in around 45 countries.
Thank you, Simon. So I'm going to ask each of the panel now to make an opening statement about what they see as the state of security in India right now and their thoughts. When they've all done that, we'll open it up for questions. So please use the question and answer button at the bottom of your screen. So can I ask Captain Tyagi for your opening statement, please?
Yeah, Simon, as I mentioned that I represent International Council of Security and Safety Management, which has got working security and safety professionals as member world over. And I have seen, the input which I keep receiving on daily basis, and I see a paradox. Paradox is that those security agencies which have just started close their business. Those who are well established, they are finding very difficult to get the manpower. But this is one side of the story. Other side of the story is that when I get the input from security professionals, those who are actually managing the security in their industries, they have been giving very encouraging input, and that is that not a single security guard has abandoned the service. So now I found it, a very interesting and also alarming, because there is, service provider industry which is getting the manpower, which is, actually not within their control, and they come and they leave. But here is another, end of the security service, which is end user, and they have been giving the feedback that their manpower stood their grounds and not abandoned the single post. So this is what I see, and I also see that now more and more security in charges are getting involved in BCP, their business continuity plan, their emergency management system. And this is the trend which have been reported from all over the India.
Captain Tangi, thank you very much indeed for your opening statement. Can I now go to Kunwar Vikram Singh for your opening statement? Can I ask the panel just to make sure they're on quiet while we have a panelist speaking? So Kunwar Vikram Singh, your opening statement, please.
See, the situation just narrated by my friend Captain Tyagi, he's to some extent is correct. Since I represent the private security industry, I interact with on a day-to-day basis. The day the whole emergency type of situation was thrown upon us, we managed to get control of almost all the agencies, even the government. Within a day, we managed to bring the ministers on the dais with us on the Zoom system. An entire industry was given instructions, and the government assured how they will help the industry. And then we have chapters in almost all the states. We got connected with the chapters, and hundreds of security agencies got involved. They knew what the status. It was almost like preparing for the war. But like I said, situation is not that bad. We've been almost managing our security business like in a firefighting business, where you almost in an emergency situation react to those situations. This situation may be a little slightly different, but as for the security professional, as where we perform duties, people are working. There is a shortage. Some people have gone, but not to the extent. We have just carried out a survey where the shortage is about, say, about 20 to 30%, not much. But most of the security agencies are operational. They're working very hard. Guards are working very hard. And we are managing this situation in a very good structured manner.
Thank you very much indeed. Let me go to Vijnath Kati, please, for your opening statement.
Okay. Just taking from where Kumar Vikram Singh told us the things are not that bad. I do agree with him. The things, what we look at, the downsizing was the biggest concern what we had the moment the COVID-19 thing came into India. But then there are a lot of really positive thinking companies, both Indian and MNCs, whatever you say. I think though they have downsized, I think my experience has been the boys who have been downsized, who are not working, even they were taking care in terms of their wages, their fooding, their stay, those kind of things were there. But in some places where we did not have this kind of situation, we had a situation where we had to transfer these guys to move to another unit because they had to be given job. The only challenge what we had was the transport. I think the boys were not in a position to move because transports are totally closed. But nevertheless, the industry as it is, it runs with average about 10 to 15% of shortage, which we are good at running our own businesses. So we still manage our business in a pretty good way. So not much of a problem for the industry.
Okay, thank you very much. So was that it? Do you finish? Thank you. So let me go to Vikram, please, for your opening statement.
Yes, we operate pan-India, and as we operate pan-India, we have had different experiences, and it's nothing like an Indian company or a multinational. I think everywhere the security guards have really come up to the highest standards, both in terms of commitment and in performance in difficult times. Having said that, I think every company in India would have a different kind of a challenge, because companies which have earlier been working on the edge, when I say working on the edge, means people who have worked with lesser margins, and people who have not gone about it in a very, very organized manner would certainly be having a little bit of a difficult time. But then if you have been covering your sides, as they say, in terms of margins and in terms of choosing the right contract and having your right contract in place, would not be having problems. And when I say not having problems, means both for the management as well as for the guards.
Thank you. And finally, our international expert, I'm going to ask Simon, your opening statement, please.
Okay, thanks, Martin. So, as I mentioned, we operate security in 45 countries. I was lucky enough to be in Mumbai in February, just as COVID was starting to strike the world. And we operate security contracts across India in Mumbai, Goa, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad. And we have just a small percentage, maybe just under 2,000 guards operating those security contracts. Totally aligned with what some of the comments have been so far in terms of security have stepped up. For those guards and those contracts that we've had so far, there's been no decline, no drop shifts, no missing posts. And we've been very well supported by our vendors in the country. We worked very early on with our vendors to, I would say, update the business continuity plans, taking our lessons from China and where we're providing security in some of the earlier COVID countries. And then we work with our partners to update theirs in terms of how to deal with the self-isolation and how to deal with guards that are then struck by COVID. I would say that this is a time really perhaps whereby there could be a rebalancing of security services within India. We know, and I know from my own experience, that labour within India is approximately 4 to 5 times higher guard force count than many of the other countries. And perhaps now is the time to really kind of evaluate that low cost of labour versus the technology and see how the industry can embrace it. We know from our teams around the world that security has really embraced the temperature checking systems that are coming in play. 70% of our contracts around the world have now implemented them, and they're staying in place well after the lockdowns have eased. But also kind of social distancing compliance, PPE compliance. And I think there is a role for security to play here and to continue to be recognised as countries start coming out of lockdown. But at the same time, I think it's an opportunity to reevaluate where we have the labour versus the technology and where that can be invested in the future.
Simon, thank you very much indeed. So let me pick up on that question then, and perhaps I can put it back to the panel. This issue of the challenge of technology, that this has cropped up on quite a few of the webinars, where people are talking about technology has arrived. In fact, tomorrow we have a webinar all about technology. What is the barrier, if I can ask Kumar Vikram Singh to start, what's the barrier for getting more involved in technology? Is it purely finance?
Oh, see, in India, we are quite tech savvy, and in security, most of the companies are using technology, clients are using technology. There's no doubt, but there's no barrier as such. But you cannot replace a man with machine. In India, you will surely need a man behind the machine. Any technology you bring, you've got to have people to handle the situation. The kind of challenges are going to see your future, what we're facing at the moment. What will your CCTV or barriers and other thing will do if you get into a bad situation? If you get into an unrest situation, who will support? Who will support these kind of emergencies? We are a very large company with a low population, and we have social economic issues also. And there are certain people, those are out to create some kind of issues in India as far as security scenario is concerned. Being a security professional myself, technology is required. There's no doubt about it, absolutely. but you need a manpower. Manpower definitely is, as for the security, parameter security, other security, inside, outside, wherever. You need people well trained, well equipped with the technology. There's no doubt about it. There's no barrier as such in India. I think we have a huge market in India as for the technology concern. Day to day, we are, training ourselves and bringing more technology in. But manpower is more important. There's more important. There's no doubt.
Okay, let me ask Captain Tyagi. Do you think the balance is right? There is this sense around the world that what the security sector is being taught in this crisis, as people work from home, as lockdown takes place, there's a greater role for technology, and that there's a rebalancing, as Simon would suggest. Captain Tyagi, your thoughts on that as far as India is concerned?
In fact, this lockdown has made top management realize that firstly, not everything can be locked down. You cannot have no work from home for all the segments, all the sectors. There are certain professional duties which need to be done while personal need to be on ground. So there is no shortcut to it. There is no technology. When man got to be on ground, he got to be on ground. The management is going to think more and more and decide in favor of keeping the technology which will give them the better situational awareness. They need situational awareness. They need it through manpower which is on ground. So it is not only about getting the feed of CCTV. It is not only about getting the alarms, alarm management, getting the CCTV footage, making the better decision with video analytics. And not only this, there are technologies which are going to be deployed very soon, very fast in India, which have not been so far thought about. Internet of Things, wearable technologies. These are the ideas which top management is already thinking, and real good security professionals are already advising their top management to think about it, because as people say, that present normal is going to be the future. What today we are doing in security is going to be a benchmark. In security, we consider three factors. One is vulnerability, criticality is second thing, and probability is third thing. In present situation, all three factors are on highest possible meter. So when all three factors are high, how can we reduce the manpower? But still, there are good security professionals who have reduced the manpower, and this is going to be the benchmark. And they will not be any further increase of manpower. This will remain as benchmark, and augmentation would be through technology deployment. That is going to be the future. Internet of Things, wearable technologies.
Thank you very much. Let me extend this. We'll come back to technology in a minute. But I'd like to go over to Vishwanath Kati next. And this is a question from Vikram Badwa, who's posed the thought about whether there should be an equal playing ground for all security companies in India, a standardized contract, non-negotiable clauses. Now that to me as an overseas person strikes me as a strange suggestion. Let me go though to Vishwanath. What do you think? Is this a realistic thought forward? Has this got currency out there in India?
Of course, in earlier days we used to have our own standard format of contracts where we had our own conditions, but few conditions had to be compromised as per the customer's requirement. But things have drastically changed after these big business guys coming into India, especially the MNCs. All these agreements or conditions, whatever you say, is drafted for global businesses. So absolutely there's no say, or none of us have any say in any of these contracts which have to be signed. So this is the order of the day. So the other companies also have followed this. So very few, I think, situations we have an option of having our own contracts, and at the same time, I think always the customer is at the, I think, the most comfortable situation. That's what I would like to say.
Yes, I understand that. And Vikram, I guess this point about the customer, I have to say, around the world, this has been one of the big issues. Are customers at the end going to be impressed with what's been going on during the crisis? Vikram, what's your sense of the extent to which customers are impressed so far?
Sorry, come again. Impressed in what way? Not very
well,
clear.
Impressed. So here's the point. In a time of crisis, security has the chance to show how good it is. But the ultimate people it has to please are the people who are paying, the clients, the customers.
Yes.
To what extent is what is being done now, do you think, impressing clients who ultimately matter the most? Ultimately.
Yeah. You see, as far as impressing clients is concerned, and or you would say it's about customer satisfaction and as they say, the wow factor. Well, I think at this particular moment, the wow factor has certainly disappeared on ground. It is just about maintaining your manpower, ensuring that the people are going on duties, and securing the location. Yes, we are sort of moving into a different direction, in the sense that if you are a company with additional opportunities on the shelf, like if you can provide some I would say the additional incentives, like if you have something more to offer, that is what we can do. Like we are increasing on our patrolling, etc., etc. But then there is nothing extra that you can do at this time. You just have to hang on and ensure the premises are secure and your manpower is there on the spot.
Okay, thank you. Let me push this one a little bit. Simon, your thoughts on this and put it in international perspective. I mean, around the world, this has been a big issue, hasn't it? It's a time of crisis. Security's got a chance to show how well it's doing. What would you say the international response has been from clients? Are they impressed?
Yes, I think they are very impressed, but at a kind of a local level. I think what we are, and I know, Martin, you're passionate about this, what we are notoriously bad about as an industry is singing our own praises. I think that almost because security has continued to function and we haven't had the level of issues as some of the other industries, security has almost kind of gone largely unnoticed. But if we look at all the industries, all the essential workers, they're able to continue to work. Manufacturing is still able to manufacture because security is on the front line providing these services. But it's almost kind of gone so smoothly that there hasn't been a problem. And therefore, I think that the industry, collectively and globally, need to be kind of very upfront with how we publicise this when the time is right and how we do it. But I think there's a huge opportunity. There's a huge opportunity for us to kind of take what we've been doing quite naturally over the last kind of 2 or 3 months and put it towards our clients so that they value the service that is being provided to them on a day-by-day basis. And don't forget, every single security officer out there at the moment on the front line is putting themselves at greater risk. And I think that needs to be kind of reminded that our security teams are out there working when the risk is high.
Thank you. I mean, I wonder whether I could ask Kumar Vikram Singh on this point and Captain Tyagi afterwards, please. Because this issue about, as Simon said, and this has cropped up on other webinars, security is good at getting on with the job. And it does so rather quietly. It gets on with it. That's what security world is good at. But the problem is that if clients are not noticing there's an excellent service, what possible gain can there be afterwards? It'll be back to business as usual, won't it? So let me go to Kumar Vikram Singh first.
See, I don't agree You need not to show to your client how secure they are. As long as they're secure, they should feel secure because it is at their own selection of companies. And the security analysis or the preparedness plan they have prepared. If nothing goes wrong, they are secure. You need not to do anything extra. What can you do? You can't go every day to the CEO of the company and salute him that we are here. He's been watching him all the time. And as long as the life and property and assets are secure, the client should be happy. That's all. And you can't create a situation to impress your client. And clients are very smart people. They know how security is working, how systems are being operated. And they only pay you in the end of the month if they're happy. It's been, every time you get your check, it's been your client was happy in the last 1 month. You need not do anything extra. I think so. Captain Tyagi can tell me.
Captain Tyagi, I wonder whether I can push you a little bit further on this, because one of the issues I think that's really interesting is that my view is that when I speak to security sector around the world, I think there's one thing universally around the world the security sector is really bad at, and that is saying how good it really is. And in this crisis, it has, it seems, been very, very good, as you're all saying. My worry is no one's telling the world. And so afterwards, we're going to go back to exactly as it was before, and we're not milking the opportunity to say, security world, this is how good we are. Captain Tyagi, your thoughts?
Yeah, in fact, when Kumar Vikram Singh was, giving his ideas, and I was giving a smile, for one simple reason that for about 35 years, I worked in the corporate sector, corporate security. And my director, HR, would every year ask me to give on record how good I am, or I was for that year. And I would, jokingly tell him that no one got murdered, there was no theft, there was no stealing of our product. And do you think that this is happening automatically, and God is, granting us, that kind of peace and love all around? And I knew, that in today's world, we have to make people realize our worth. How good we are will not be known to the world unless we start telling it. And it is like, kind of my show. I want this show to be blockbuster, but I fail to sell the ticket. No one is going to see my show. So I immediately remember one African proverb which says that, till loins start writing their stories, people will read only the hunters' glories and bravery. It is we people who have to, if not bravado, if not overstating, if not making advertisement of ourselves, in very subtle manner, we have to tell that we are here, we are delivering. It is not for no reasons that all over the world, police and paramilitary forces and even army undergo display of their assets, display of their strength, and they have flag marches. So we don't have to do the flag marches, but we have to make people realize that we are here, we are securing your assets, we are securing your people, and look at us, that how good we are at it. Because when everything was down, everything was locked, we stood our ground. In my opening remark, I mentioned two things. One was getting new guards or additional guard is very difficult in present condition. But I also mentioned that not even a single guard abandoned the post. And this is the feedback which I get from chiefs of security, security managers from various public sector and private sector industries, the working professionals, and they give the feedback that none of them abandoned the post. But this need to be shared with the people and let them realize that when everything comes to lockdown condition, we are the people trustworthy and giving the duty, uncompromising, and we are there as corona warriors. This is the kind of term which world over everyone is using, that these security guards are also corona warriors, They are not having their gloves, face masks, and sanitizers. They have started not even getting the PPEs, even after so many days of lockdown. But they are doing the duties. They have to be appreciated.
Thank you, Kunwar. Thank you, Kunwar. Vikram Singh, if I could come back to you, just on a final point on this. Your point actually came up yesterday in a webinar which was about the media. And what emerged from talking to journalists was really your point actually, that if nothing happens, that's good for security. But it's not good message for the rest of the world, because the rest of the world is not interested in things that don't happen. So I wonder whether there is a case for me to ask you, do you think the security industry sector in India is geared up to making it clear that nothing happening is a positive and that security in this crisis is doing rather well? Kunwar, Vikram Singh, your thoughts?
I tend to agree with you. See, the publicity, public relation is very important to showcase your achievements. That's why the Central Association of Private Security Industry, CAPSI, we've been holding, national conferences where we invite all the end users, the ministers, the governors, the prime ministers. We hold these kind of conferences in state level also. We show what we have done. We award people for their work they have done and all kind of things. And these are given wide publicity. And for the last 6 months, the CAPSI has launched their public relation campaign on the social media, where we tell people that this is a security guard, this is a security woman who is protecting you. Please say thank you to her or him. So CAPSI always been doing these kind of things to make a presence felt and also recognize people, those who've been done a good service. We get a good publicity, and Government of India is aware of the fact. Let me tell you, in India, I and my associates sitting here, we boast of it, that we have a crime rate of 0.82% in India, crime rate, because of the private security involvement and presence. We don't let things happen. This is an official statement. You will not find this percentage of crime rate anywhere in the world, that we have the most honest people working and protecting our client. If they realize, all right, otherwise we tell them. And as far as the Shoei case is concerned, like I told you, we do many things and all that. We engaging other societies, resident welfare association, to make them understand. And let me tell you, people know the importance. Governments know the importance. Imagine in India, within 1 day, gave us a definition of essential service. They found us very useful. Now we are essential services in India, and the way we have managed like a most organized sector. Within 2 days we organize. So people understand, government understands usefulness. Only problem is with the clients. Now in this crisis, Martin, a lot of good companies, they got so jittery, they downsized their staff, not the many companies, but some of the well-known companies. I don't know what happened to them. They were twice. Next, they said, we don't need security guard. I mean, it's amazing, unthinkable. You need a security at this time when nobody's around. You need more security. You should call your security expert. What will happen during this time? What we should do? We tell them whether to downsize or not downsize. But so moto, they started these kind of things, which is not being appreciated. And government has already came very happy that you can't do these things. But as an industry, as in a sector, we are totally prepared, like other colleagues are saying, that we are doing a job very well. And government is aware of it. Every minute, every meeting is conveyed to the Government of India and state that we are doing a job, and the clients are also happy. Only there's a money problem. People say we don't have money, we can't give it to you. We're also now talking to the government whether the government can give us some money. Your clients are rich companies. They say we don't have money. I mean, within the 10 days of crisis, how can they go so poor and pauper? I mean, so such a large corporation are feeling ashamed of some of the companies.
Come on, let me just, come on, if I could just pick up on that, because quite a few of the questions I got in advance, and indeed Dio, Prakash Singh, Monish Gulati, Suresh V have all raised this point about the downsizing, the impact on manpower, and the consequences for the sector in the aftermath. I wonder whether I could ask Vikram Marukar your thoughts on how well placed is the security sector going to be given these downsizing and cutbacks once the COVID-19 is over? Vikram.
Yes. As on date, I will start with as on date, we have decided to rather, resist from downsizing the manpower that is deployed in the industries or in the retail sector, etc., etc. But having said that, there are a few clients, some very good companies, I would not name them, who for unknown reasons have said that no, they would like to downsize. We have shown them the government notifications, etc. Coming to the point and saying, how will things look after the COVID threat is over and after the lockdown is lifted? Well, in that case, I would say that the Indian mentality as such is that people do fall back to work immediately. Not that there is no need, but there is a need to work. There is a requirement to work, and also the way the industries at this particular moment, and I come from the home state of Gujarat, where we have the maximum numbers, the industries are vying to open up. And if they are vying to open up, you'll be happy to know that in the FM sector already, most of the HM people working on ground, the housekeepers, etc., are back to work. But yes, the security guards also, there would be an issue because some of them who have migrated back home may take some time to work, but then the opportunities would be there. And I don't think there would be any problem in getting them back to work, getting them back to their places of work where they were and at the same salaries.
Thank you. Simon, I wonder whether I could ask you to put this into international perspective. What's your anticipation of what's going to happen in the aftermath of COVID-19 to the security sector beyond India?
So if we look at the trends that we've got so far, is normality turned pretty
We
quickly.
can't hear him.
Yes, Simon, we're having trouble hearing you. There's a slight delay on the line.
When everyone felt that there was going to be, I guess, okay. I can hear you fine.
Okay, yeah, carry on, Simon.
My end.
You went quiet for a minute. Carry on, carry on.
Okay. So, around the world, we know that China reverted to normal pretty quickly.
No, we can't hear you, Simon. Unfortunately, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Let's see if we can sort that out and come back to you in a second. It's you're breaking up, so we can't even make out the words. So let me just let me move on, because there's quite a lot of questions here. We can come back to these questions at the end. One of the key ones I've got in advance from Captain Japri Joshi, who wants to know about the skills matrix, the skill sets that have been learned in COVID-19 that might prepare security sector to be impressive afterwards. In other words, what is it about what we're learning now that might make security a better proposition going forward? Let me ask Captain Tyagi first, please, for your thoughts on that.
Thank you, Jaipreet, for asking this question. And Martin, I believe that when this lockdown was declared, the security personnel stayed put, they stood their ground and started doing even those things which were not previously mentioned in their job description or job specifications. They were required to maintain fire water system. They were required to check sprinklers, smoke detectors. They were required to check the raw water treatment plant. And this is what I'm sharing is the real input I received from security professionals. They were asked to become part of those teams which in normal conditions would have been from different departments in case of business continuity plan. When drills were being carried out for emergency, all those team members of various teams were not present on ground, and security personnel started doing those activities. Those who have not handled the fire water hose actually did that job. And this is how few skills they started learning even while under lockdown. And there is a kind of feeling in the leadership of not only the security leadership, but also the corporate leadership, that it would be paying them better dividends if we prepare our security team for multitasking. One is that they are given exposure to different job responsibilities. Job specifications are made out for them also, and they are over given time, they are experts in handling those activities also. That is one thing. That also would increase their employability, increase their utility, and employability and their utility will increase their remunerations also. Second thing is that security leadership is giving them training even while under lockdown, training on how to operate CCTV system, which so far were left to so-called experts, the data entry operators, the tech-savvy guys. So these security guards are doing the scanning, baggage scanning they are handling, undercarriage vehicle inspection system they are handling, CCTV they are handling, they are making the logs, they are making the reports, they are responding to the alarms. And this is how on one side on technology and other side in job enrichment, they are now ready and ready to take on further duties, further responsibilities, enrich their learning and make themselves a better person in the organization, so that their worth, their value, their importance is going manifold. And this is the plus positive side I see of this lockdown. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me come back to Kumar Vikram Singh on this point. I mean, yesterday this cropped up and about skill sets. And so I'm grateful for it being asked. And in some ways, Harris Hussain has asked a similar question. And it's a point about we can increase the skill sets, but should they extend beyond just security? So with the example yesterday of where they were doing other things for the clients, that might be, I'm just going to give an example, it didn't crop up yesterday, watering the plants in an empty building, or doing things that are not security related. Is this also a good thing, or does this dilute the fact that security is an expertise with a special quality? Kunwar, your thoughts, please.
Martin, security guard is a security guard. Security officers is security officers. They should only concentrate how they can provide better security environment. And we keep on, skilling them from time to time, his on-job trainings, other things and all that. You can't use them for other work. Secondly, let me tell you, Martin, what I feel, this corona virus is not a great security threat to the industry, not a security threat to the nation. This is an entirely different kind of threat. It's not a riots, it is not a flood, it is not an earthquake where people are involved. This is a unique threat to the humanity. The governments and other people have to take differently, where you need more security, more skill set. Our people are downsizing in this time when there is a crisis. But as far as what your question is, that as a security defense policy, you must have a defense policies, which most of the companies don't do it. They hardly do any, what is the business continuity plan? They don't do it, then they don't follow it. If they follow it, then they don't live like this. So if you really want to secure your men and material and the nation, you have to have set policies. and keeping those threat perception in mind, then you train your people, skill sets. We have a sector skill council. We started giving training for the last 5 years. We created national occupational standard. I think we were the first country. We have a national occupational standard for 9 job roles. We have more than 200 training centers. We have now 3 universities. And internationally, we are one of the best the way we are progressing. And in the time to come, after this is with the grace of God, if we get out of this situation, we'll be able to export our best security professional internationally. We are competent. So we are working day and night. Captain Tyagi, again, he's been doing it. So Vikram Mahurkar's Institute of Fire Sciences is one of the best in the world. So we are much ahead as far as security, environment, training, skill sets are concerned. We can perform our duties very well. But this threat is not here. We are trying to protect ourselves from the disease. What else can you do? The army is trying to protect them. The police is trying to protect. It's a God Almighty will save you, or something. I don't know what will happen. But we are comfortable. We are fighting it very well.
Okay, thank you, Vishnuarth. I wonder whether I could ask you this question, because it's a biggie, isn't it? The skill sets that you're going to be able to go afterwards. Actually, rather interestingly, one of the issues that has cropped up on other webinars that Kunwe's raised is this whole aspect of business continuity. And some are arguing security showing that it's good at that. And that is the ultimate lesson for security. Be good at saving a company by its business continuity. Take that away. We've got a question also about the dangers that are facing security officers. I'll come to that in a second. Vishnuarth, your final point on that, please. What are the chances of coming out the other end with that skill set? Business continuity being even more important for the business.
Of course, many of us have our own business continuity plans. Apart from that, the biggest challenge we all have would be the boys coming back to work when the things get normal. And incidentally or fortunately for all of us, the activities which are being closed right now, be it manufacturing, be it service sector or retail, whatever you say, they would be open in a phased manner. I think the business continuity plan as such may not be a biggest task for us, because the manpower is sitting on the bench. So that manpower easily would come in there. And this is a manpower which has already been tried and tested. So we don't have to get prepared for this opening of the industries after this right now, whatever pandemic solutions we have. But the only concern, if you ask me, see, we had a similar situation. If you look at 2008, when we had the recession, the customers also had a similar situation, though this was not like COVID situation, but when they started bringing down the cost, they started bringing down the service charges, the manpower and all that. I feel that I think all of us have overcome all those situations, and we are still a very big industry and a very healthy industry in India. As Kumar Sahab rightly said, it's a pretty fast growing industry. And if you look at the growth rate in India, it's been around 20 to 25%, I think, per annum, which is a pretty good run rate, if you ask me. So things should be normal within, say, max about 6 months to 7 months. That's my say.
Thank you. I'm just going to check if Simon Pears is back. Simon, are you back?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Well, yes, we can hear you better. Let's give it a try, Simon, because I'm keen to get your input here, the international perspective here.
We can't even see you.
No, you won't be able to see him if you could just hear him, though. Simon, if we could just have your input.
Hearing was the problem.
So our experience from the countries coming out of lockdown, starting with China, is that service has resumed to normal levels. We haven't had any service declines, and actually this tends to be the trend as we're moving across Europe, that security has been extremely resilient, and I would say, additional services, and I go back to my first point of temperature checking. If we look at our Asia Pacific region, temperature checking is the one additional service that has remained in place after lockdown. So as these countries start to get to normality, there's actually greater need on the security teams to fulfill their service. Because we can provide the early warning to our clients if we're performing the temperature checking as to whether people have got fevers and prevent that spread within a plant or a manufacturing unit. So if we look at, again, as we go through the countries, we have seen no noticeable decline as we're coming out. And in fact, there's probably been a small element of growth when we've taken advantage of the situation to explain to our clients the value the security teams can bring. And I think it's important to kind of extract that the value that we can bring to keep them functioning, to keep them manufacturing, to keep their people safe, that is the value that we bring. Whilst I appreciate it is also about theft and stock loss, it also is very much about the business continuity side and allowing our clients to continue to function.
Wow, Simon, that was a great comment. I'm pleased we got that one in. So quite an optimistic voice. Before I come round and ask each of the panel for a final comment, I just wonder whether I could ask just one question from overseas panel. I'll just go to Vikram Mahota, if I could just please ask you this question. And it's from Dr. Matt Hopkins, who's a researcher in the world of security. And he's asking about, have there been any incidents in India of frontline staff being either abused or assaulted as a result of the crisis, and our staff going off sick? Vikram, if I could just ask you for a quick comment on that, and then we'll go to closing statements. Vikram.
Yeah, so till this moment, at least my organization and my people have not been in any way victimized or assaulted or questioned, I would say. But then, yes, there are, as they say, the corona warriors, the doctors, etc., who have been questioned and who have also been assaulted at by certain groups of people in very unfamiliar small cities. These groups have various agendas, and I think the government is looking at them very seriously. But I would not say that this has been rampant. I would not be able to say that this is a rampant happening anywhere in India.
Very positive. And two very positive comments about India. That's not been the case everywhere, I understand. Okay, what I'm going to do, we're running out of time. We're very strict with time so that people can watch it and get a condensed argument. There are lots more questions, but I wonder if I could ask each of you, just in 20 seconds, please, panel, or 30 seconds at the most, your final thoughts on post this crisis. What do you think will be the ultimate lessons for the security world? So let me go to Kunwar Vikram Singh, just 30 seconds maximum possible, please. Final comments. Kunwar. Kunwar Vikram Singh. We can't hear. Oh, Kunwar's on mute. Kunwar, you're on mute.
Yes.
Your final comment, just 30 seconds, please, on what you see as the most important lessons for the security world post the virus.
Security will remain professional. We'll train our people more to handle better situations, because after this, there may be different challenges which we don't see at the moment. But there may be some socio-economic problems later on that can lead to any bad situation or good situation. But as a security professional, everybody should be prepared, and we are getting ready for this. Absolutely, there'll be no problem as far as private security industry is concerned. We are prepared for everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Captain Tyagi, your final comments, please.
I believe that present normal is the future. The trend is going to continue. People are going to give additional tasks to security team. Security team will deliver, and they will be more professional. They will have global outlook, and they will have their performance metrics well appreciated and rewarded.
Excellent. Another positive. Vishwanath Katti, please. Your final comments on this issue.
As it is, the security staff are now, who have been without work, have been put into intensive training. They know what is there in store for us. These guys, I think when they come back, they are like a recharged battery. They would deliver best, and probably the downsizing, I don't think it will continue. It's only a passing phase. Probably, as I already told you, probably in 6 to 8 months, we should be back to normal with better vision. That's it for me.
Positive. Vikram, your final comments, please.
Yeah, I feel I'll add a bit more. I think there will be a consolidation in this sector, which will lead to, which will be, and one of the main reasons will be that the government would be enforcing the laws more strictly. Having said that, the security guards would be benefited. And in the short term, I don't think this will go beyond 3 months and 3 to 4 months. And you should find them again in a happy state and the country bouncing back.
When you say consolidation, what did you mean by consolidation?
Yes, in India, there is a very big, there is an organized sector and there is an unorganized sector. So I think in this, the unorganized sector is certainly going to be affected. And with that happening, the law enforcement will be more in terms of the Pasara Act, etc., which will help the larger companies to consolidate. And in turn, the security guards will be benefited in terms of salaries, their benefits, etc.
Thank you. And my final comment to Simon Pearce, please. Simon, in 30 seconds, if you will, a summary of your thoughts on perhaps your international experience on what you've heard about India.
So, well, I think we need to be realistic that a lot of our clients will be wanting to optimize costs when they start returning. So I think as an industry, we've got a fantastic opportunity to take advantage and lead and innovate from the front and work proactively to optimize the service, where the industry is still in control rather than the end client. And I think then we can protect and maximize the security service going forward and make it kind of more, enhance that professionalism that we're all striving to. So I think it's in our gift as the industry to optimize ourselves and place the security based upon the risks that we face.
Simon, thank you very much indeed. And thank you very much indeed to all the questions. And there were lots more there that we didn't have a chance to organise. But maybe we'll have another panel another time in India. But thank you very much indeed for that. Just to remind you, if I could, that what we've been speaking about today is about outstanding performance. And here's a chance, please, to nominate those people in the Indian security sector that you think are outstanding. We'd encourage you to put their name forward. If it's a good product, a good initiative, a good security officer, a good manager, we want to know. And ultimately, if the security world is to come out of this with a better impression, then it needs to recognize those who are really good at what they do. We've heard today some very positive feedback about the Indian security sector. What is crystal clear is that if we lay the right foundations now and we look critically at what's going on, we have the chance to think differently going forward. So my very special thanks to, once again, to everyone, particularly to Rajiv Martha, who put all this together. It's his brainchild. And to all the people who provided questions, to my panel for their insightful comments. I said to them before, please can you be concise? And they were very concise, and I know how difficult that is. For those of you who are interested in further webinars, we have another one tomorrow. How are technologies helping or hindering security? And that would be at 3:30 p.m. British in the UK, which I think is about 8 o'clock in India. We'll get a message to you all with that information. And there are more lined up. So from all of us around the world, thank you for your contribution. Thank you to the panel. And wherever you are in the world, stay safe.